Facebook wants to fight against some of the conspiracy theories and hoax news stories that are posted on certain news feeds. And so now they will begin monitoring such links that are posted on their social networking site. And this is causing a little bit of controversy because it could lead to certain types of censorship that people are not in favor of, especially because a lot of the censorship lies in the hands of the actual users. So let me tell you exactly how Facebook plans on cracking down on hoaxes. According to reports, using the report post feature, users will now have the option to mark a story as false news. When a number of people have reported the story as inaccurate, now Facebook will add an annotation to warn users that many others have reported it as fake. So basically, it's similar to someone, let's say, flagging a video on YouTube if there's like nudity or adult content. Users will be able to kind of vote and decide whether or not something is inappropriate. But considering some of the content that's posted, I mean, my mind just thinks back to the whole Michael Brown case, and a bunch of people were posting a lot of stuff that other people disagreed with. I mean, people who disagree with you are obviously going to vote it down, or they're going to report it in this report post feature. And so, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a conundrum there. I don't know.
It really sort of depends on the implementation and how it works. If all that happens is that you see that a story has more, hey, this is false, meets a certain threshold, well then, I don't know. I guess that might affect how you look at it. That might help. If it actually keeps stuff off the feeds, well then, is that what they say, the feeds?
The feed, yeah.
The feeds. It's part of the Googles.
Yeah. If it keeps stuff off the I knew I shouldn't start talking about the story. I knew it. If it keeps stuff off a feed, then no. Then you're you're into a dangerous territory where sort of political affiliation and mostly, I guarantee you, the right will sort of bully stories off that they don't like.
I mean, that's definitely something that I'm concerned about. And what I do like and dislike about this attempt is that Facebook is not going to have an employee sitting around deciding whether or not a news story is, misleading or inaccurate. They're going to rely on people flagging the video or flagging the link or flagging the news story. But again, I mean, that has its own ramifications. Now, they're saying that they're not going to take content down, but they are effectively censoring certain things because if something is reported as inaccurate, it could disappear from feeds or the feed. So according to the report, look what you did to me. Look what you did to me. So the Daily Dot says, even with the reports, Facebook will not be removing links to fake stories entirely. Instead, those flagged as false and regularly deleted will be punished with reduced distribution in the news feed.
Can I make a prediction?
That's still censorship.
So they will have reduced distribution in the news feed, but I guarantee that the person who put the thing up could probably pay to bring that distribution back up.
That's another issue.
I think they're desperate for some way to monetize the content, but I don't think that this can work. I don't like the idea of a Facebook employee being the one to arbitrate it, but that could at least in theory work. If you're requiring that regular people reasonably read the article and then decide if it's false or not, how are they going to do that? On Reddit, you're supposed to downvote stuff that doesn't contribute, but people just use it to disagree. You can't trust people to do that.
A lot of people will, dislike a video or they will, or they'll leave a nasty comment just based on what the headline is alone, not even what the content. Exactly. So that's a bit of an issue. But also, it really does bring up a bigger question about whether or not a social networking site or let's say something like Reddit has the obligation or the responsibility to be the police of the internet, right? So you have like a big search engine like Google, and of course Google will pull up some websites that have misinformation, but I don't think it's Google's job to decide which results they should take out of the search or the results.
The feeds.
The feeds, exactly, the feeds.
But also, what does it even mean to say the story is untrue? That everything in the story is untrue? That they lay out some facts and then what they say should happen based on those facts is untrue? Or is it that they talk about Keystone XL and then they cite jobs numbers that are off in one case but not another?
Yeah.
How untrue does a story have to be marked as untrue? That's why PolitiFact will do an entire article breaking down every aspect of it. That's what you need to look into to know about the veracity of a story, not true or untrue.
But if there is a flip side, it would be that look, we didn't 10 years ago, we didn't, or 15 years ago, we didn't even have Facebook, and I don't even, and forgive me for not, I have an account now, but I don't even run it. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what a feed is. What comes on the news feed, does that go to everybody?
So they have a strange algorithm, and it really depends on who you're like subscribed to in your friends list. It's all very complicated.
As to what kinds of stories you get.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times, originally, your feed would be updated with the most recent post. That was a long time ago.
Posts by
your friends.
Right.
So you only get posts by people that you're either following, people who are your friends. And so before it would be the most recent post up top on your feed, and you would see what people are doing, what
like
they're
Twitter.
up to. It was very similar to Twitter in that sense. But then they came up with this strange algorithm where certain things will show up. There are friends on my list that post things every day. I've never seen their post in my life.
Because you don't see, I mean,
it's another attempt to monetize things, which is why like you can follow the Young Turks Facebook page, and they'll post something, and 9% of the people who have willingly opted in to see that content will see it. Only like 9 to 10%. You have to pay literally hundreds of dollars to get it out to all.
But will there be a thing on Facebook about King Abdullah dying?
Yeah, there will also be trending stuff. There will be sponsored posts. There will be posts that have been paid for, those sorts of things.
So, but anyway, it might make things better. Like, we don't know. Like, it's important that they experiment with things. Mm-hmm. Like, if this turns into an ability for the right to drum out stories that are true, but they don't like, like about climate change, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll deem some report about something from the United Nations that trended somehow, because kids love the UN reports, that they'll somehow kill that on the feed. I don't know. Then they'll fix it.
Also, I mean, it does bring up, I think, the most important question. How many people are getting their news from Facebook? Right, I don't think that Facebook is known as a source for news. Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it would be interesting if Twitter tried to do something like this, right? Because I know that there are things posted to Twitter on a regular basis that are inaccurate. But with Facebook, I see it as a dying social networking site. I mean, I
wouldn't care.
Yeah, at this point, Facebook for me personally is used as an avenue in which I share my Instagram pictures.
But what about?
But
what about the feeds?
Yeah,
what about the feeds?
Here's what Facebook could be replaced by: a messaging app that also told you when your friends' birthdays were. That is the only thing that Facebook is needed for right now.
Absolutely true.